The year was 1857. In a quiet town called Milan, Ohio, a young boy sat by the window, his bright eyes scanning the words in a heavy book. While other children ran outside, playing and laughing, this boy was lost in thought. His name was Thomas, and he was different. He did not just accept the world as it was, he wanted to understand it, to change it. One afternoon, Thomas returned from school with tears in his eyes. He placed a crumpled letter on the table. With trembling hands, he unfolded the note. It was from his teacher. "Your son is too slow. He does not pay attention. He cannot be taught." His hands clenched the paper, his face turning red. How dare they? That day changed everything. Thomas never returned to school. He was about to find a teacher who truly believed in him. Thomas's home turned into a place of endless experiments. He collected strange-looking bottles, mixed colorful liquids, and created odd-smelling fumes. His curiosity knew no bounds. One evening, he sat in the attic, staring at a candle flame. The way it flickered fascinated him. "What if I could make a light that never dies out?" he thought. He started experimenting with fire, melting different materials, testing how long they could burn. But curiosity sometimes led to trouble. One day, while traveling on a train, he managed to set up a tiny laboratory in the baggage compartment. He carefully mixed chemicals in a beaker, unaware that a few drops had spilled. Within seconds, flames leapt up, crackling wildly. The conductor burst in, eyes widening in horror. "Fire!" he bellowed, grabbing Thomas by the collar. The train screeched to a stop, and the boy was tossed out onto the platform. Dusting himself off, Thomas watched the train disappear. Instead of fear, a strange excitement filled his heart. Fire is dangerous, but if controlled, it can light up the world. By the time Thomas turned 15, he had already read countless books and conducted hundreds of experiments. But learning was not enough. He needed experience. So he found a job as a telegraph operator. Night after night, he sat in a dimly lit room, listening to the rhythmic tapping of Morse code. It was monotonous work, but his mind never rested. When others went home, he stayed behind, sketching designs, noting ideas, and dreaming of inventions. One night, an accident occurred. A train was heading toward disaster, and the telegraph lines were failing. Thinking fast, Thomas rewired the machine and sent the emergency signal just in time. He had saved lives. His supervisor was impressed. "You have a sharp mind, boy, but you spend too much time lost in your inventions." Thomas simply smiled. One day, these inventions will change the world. By his early 20s, Thomas had moved to Boston, a city bustling with ideas and innovation. He built his first real invention, a device that could record and count votes instantly. Excited, he presented it to the government, expecting applause. Instead, officials frowned. "This is too fast," one of them said. "We need time to change votes, to negotiate. We can't use this." Thomas was stunned. For the first time, he realized that inventing something useful wasn't enough. People had to want it. He left the office, disappointed but not defeated. If one idea failed, he would create another. The light bulb obsession. 10,000 experiments. By now, Thomas had become a full-time inventor. He set up a laboratory in Menlo Park, New Jersey, gathering the best minds he could find. His biggest dream? To replace candles with a long-lasting electric light bulb. Day and night, he tested different materials, searching for the perfect filament. He tried metal wires, paper, even strands of hair. Each time, the bulb would glow for a moment and then burn out. People laughed at him. "You failed 1,000 times, Thomas. Give up." But Thomas only smiled. "I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that don't work." After years of relentless testing, in 1879, it finally happened. A carbon filament bulb shone bright and stayed lit. The impossible had become possible. And it was at this moment the world finally learned his full name, Thomas Alva Edison. The world changed forever. Edison's invention spread like wildfire. Soon, New York became the first city to glow with electric light. Streets, homes, and businesses were illuminated, banishing the darkness of night. People stood in awe, gazing up at the bright lamps, marveling at the magic of science. "This changes everything," they whispered. But Edison did not stop. Over his lifetime, he created 1,093 inventions, motion pictures, phonographs, batteries, and more, each one a step toward a future he had imagined as a boy. His final words. By 1931, Edison's body had grown weak, but his mind remained sharp. As he lay on his bed surrounded by glowing bulbs, he whispered to his children, "Never stop learning. Never stop trying. The world belongs to those who dare to dream." With that, the great inventor closed his eyes for the last time. But his light did not fade. It still shines in every home, every city, every heart that dares to believe that nothing is impossible. The lessons he left behind. Hard work has no substitute. Failure is just another way to learn. Only those who believe they can change the world actually do. Years after Edison had become a celebrated inventor, he found an old letter tucked inside his mother's belongings. It was the same letter his school had sent all those years ago. With curiosity, he read it again. But this time, his heart skipped a beat. "Your son is mentally slow and unteachable. We cannot allow him to attend school anymore." Tears welled in Edison's eyes. His mother had never told him the truth. Instead, she had given him the confidence to believe he was a genius. It was never just the experiments, the failures, or the inventions that shaped his life. It was the unwavering faith of a mother who refused to let the world define her son. And so, Thomas Alva Edison did not just create light. He became a beacon of perseverance, a symbol of what a single dream can achieve. Even today, when we flip a switch and watch darkness turn to light, we remember the boy who refused to give up, the boy who dared to dream.